Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my garden. I'm so glad that you are here, and today is an exciting day because something that I talked up, said out of my mouth, has now become a reality. I'm so excited today because we're going to be putting together a metal raised bed from Vegega Gardens. The link is down below. I cannot wait to tell you all about it. So you guys know, okay, I'm standing in my garden. Okay, so I'm standing in my outside garden, and for those that have been here, you know that one of the things we tried different this year is that we planted onions in the ground in the outside garden space. We laid down quick plant fabric that was spaced 8 inches apart, and we had about 400 onions, but we battled with the weeds coming up through the holes. Now in every other place in my garden I use quick plant fabric, and we haven't had an issue. Anyway, long story short, we did the onions, and then I talked about, I don't know if I wanted to go through that again, and I thought about, okay, maybe I will not use that fabric in this space again to do my onions, but maybe I will just have a row of metal raised beds lining that part, which is kind of behind me and in front of me. And we kind of went back and forth, and I was like, I don't know what I should do. And many of you said, hey, just plant in the same place again. Then some of you was like, hey, metal raised beds may be a good long-term option as you get older. You don't have to bend as much, all that good stuff. And one of the comments that I made on that video was if I could just get me a sponsor to try out this option. And y'all, you know what? I have a sponsor. So Vegega has partnered with me, and I'm so excited, and they sent me one of their metal raised beds to try. So we're actually going to put it together today. We're going to talk about where to place it and get it ready for planting. So one of the things that I love about the Vegega garden beds is that they have a 20 to 25 year warranty, if I'm not mistaken. It is made with quality ingredients. And one of the things that is, if I had it to do all over again, when I first started my garden with raised beds behind my house, I got wooden raised beds that my husband and my son built for me. They looked good in the beginning. They don't look good now. And I've been gardening for 4 years. So depending on the type of wood that you get, wooden raised beds, especially if they're outside in the elements, they only have like a 3 to 5 year lifespan, versus when you go with a quality metal raised bed like Vegega, you're gonna have that for 20 to 25 years guaranteed. It's not gonna rust, it's not gonna oxidize, it's not gonna be combated with the elements outside and deteriorate like wood. So if I had to do all over again and was starting my garden from scratch, I would not even do wooden raised beds outside. Now I have wooden raised beds in my tunnel that are still in good shape and have not deteriorated. And the only thing I can say, that has to be because they're under protected culture. They don't get the elements, they don't get rained on, there's not wind, I mean, there's not any of those outside elements. So therefore, the wood has held up much, much longer. But if you're gonna do anything outside, I highly recommend getting a metal raised bed. So I'm gonna turn the camera around, let you see what we have. And right now we're trying to figure out which configuration we wanna go with. So one of the things about when you work with a company like Vegega and get one of their beds, they have multiple configurations. So what we have is the 9-in-1 2.0 metal raised bed, and it comes with several configurations that you can do. One of the things that I thought that I was going to do was going to do a 4x8 raised bed, because that's all of my other beds are 4x8. But let me turn the camera around and show you the spacing that we're working with as we try to figure out which configuration we want to go with, and we're going to start building the bed. Okay guys, we got all of our pieces out. This is the space in terms of the row where the bed is going to go. So right now we have one bed, but the goal is what I'm thinking is that we will line this whole strip with metal raised beds. Now that will be over a period of time in terms of making the investment, because again, these things, again, it's an investment. So I don't have the money to go and buy 10 raised beds right now, but over time we can keep building up and see how it goes. And again, I think this is a good long-term solution because it's going to help with bending in the back. So this color, I think it's cobalt blue, but that may not be the case. I'll put it up at the top of the screen, but it is a blue color, and we're going to start off with it down there. Okay, so the color is night blue. So like I said, the original configuration that I was thinking was 4x8, just because that's what all my raised beds are. But as we're looking at this space where it's going to go, if we do 4x8, it is going to limit our walkway space between the bed and the first row of crops. So we are going to attempt to do a new configuration, one size that we've never done before, which is a 2x10. So that's going to be more narrow, but it's going to be longer. But that will give us at least 2 more feet of walking space, which I think is going to be ideal. Now, in true market garden style, the walkways are 18 inches, right? But we don't do true market garden style farming over here. One, because we're not selling to market, number one. Number two, because again, we're not selling to market, and we do want to maximize our space, but we're not trying to use every inch of our garden. I like better walkways because it's more comfortable. It's more comfortable when you're harvesting, when you're picking, when you're building, when you're planting. It just makes more sense for us. So we don't try to keep with the 18-inch walkways. I think our walkways are like 3 feet apart, and that sounds like a lot, but as you can see, once your harvest comes in and it's full, it gives you enough space to walk down the aisle and not be brushing up against stuff and knocking stuff down. Okay, so we're going to try the 2x10 configuration and put it together, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so far, y'all, this is relatively easy to put together. And I mean, we've put together a metal raised bed before because we have them in the tunnel. But I think even if you've never done it before, it looks pretty simple. Like, I probably could do it, and I'm not mechanically inclined. Now, I would have to have the manual like right here, but I probably could do it. I'm watching them. It's basically just putting the pieces together and screwing them in. The hardest part, and I shouldn't even say hard, it's not hard, is that each piece is individual and it has plastic on it. And so I just took off the plastic of all of these. That is the most tedious part, but I took off all 10 pieces of plastic within probably 15 minutes or so. And then I've seen other people who have one of these beds. They said that when it's hot outside, for whatever reason, the plastic just kind of comes off really, really easily, but it didn't take long at all. So we got all the plastic off each of the pieces. You can see he's pretty much 75% of the way done, and we just got the last few pieces left. Hey guys, we're back. It's actually been 2 weeks since I shot the beginning of this video, because when we got to the point where the bed was done and we were ready to fill it, we remembered, not that we didn't know that before, we know that we needed a tractor that was going to make it a little bit easier. Instead of us trying to shovel back and forth and fill up the bed, we rented a tractor, and we had to wait until we could get a tractor. So we rented a tractor, which is a blessing. We desperately want our own tractor back. For those of you that are new, our tractor went down late last year. We have taken it to 2 different places to get it fixed, and nobody can figure out what's wrong with it. And it's relatively, when I say new, it's not new, but it's not nearly, I don't remember how many hours it has on it, but it's relatively young, my husband said, but nobody can figure out what's wrong with it. So we've been without a tractor, and we've been filling it. So we rented a tractor for the weekend, and y'all, we are trying to get everything that we can get done with this tractor, and hopefully, God willing, we'll be able to either get our tractor fixed, and Lord will send somebody who can assess and see what's wrong with it, or we can get a new one. But anyway, but look, y'all, check out these zinnias. Are they not beautiful? Okay, let me focus. Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks. We got the bed done, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually work on filling the bed. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to try to make the bed a little bit level, because out here where we have the bed, it's a little bit sloped with the ground. So my husband's gotten some stuff to try to make it level so that it can sit flat, and then we're going to start filling the bed. So here's the thing that we're going to fill the bed with, and one thing to think about when you have a raised bed that you're filling. Now, the pro of having a metal raised bed is that, again, you can fill it with the soil, so you know what's in it. You can buy quality soil, compost, all the things, and fill up the bed. The con of that is you got to fill up the bed, right? Versus when you're planting natively in the ground, the soil is already there. So what we're going to do is that we have some wood chips that we have had for probably over a year. We get them from Chip Drop. This is probably going to be the last of it, so hopefully we'll get another delivery here soon. but we're going to use the wood chips on the bottom for the base, and hopefully it will fill up enough. We're doing that today. We have wood chips that's already been, I mean, we've had them for a year, so this is going to be a perfect use. Those wood chips will break down, and then we will top it with compost and potting soil. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. First thing he's going to do is try to get the bed level. Okay, so my husband got the bed level, and so now you see him putting on the last finishing touch, which is this. Is it a rubber piece, babe?
Yeah.
It's like a rubber black piece. It gives it a nice clean look, but it also helps so that you don't get nicked by any sharp edges, which it doesn't have any sharp edges that I can tell. The corners are rounded, as you can see, but this is again, is going to protect you in case, you know, you slide up against it, move your arm against it, and it's just going to give it a nice clean finished look and also protect you from like any nicks and scratches. So we have it in the place where we want it to be. So let me kind of show you. We moved it closer to the fence because the configuration that we came up with, remember I said this is customizable, but the configuration we chose is a 2x10. So with the 2x10 configuration, this is the first time I've had that configuration. All my other beds are 4x8. So because it is only 2 feet wide, I really can reach across and plant whatever I want to plant. So I don't need that much space behind the bed to get behind it. So that's what I like, that it's customizable, versus if you go and get you a bed out of the store that's already pre-made or order one offline, you get the size, you can't customize it the way that you want. I mean, literally, if I wanted to, I could take this apart and put it in a different configuration and move it somewhere else. Now, I wouldn't do that with soil in it because that would be way too heavy. But the fact that it's customizable works out really, really well. So he's going to finish putting that on there. It's close to the fence. It's where we want it to be. And so the next thing is to start shoveling some dirt in. Halfway full with the wood chips, and the wood chips again have already started to break down. What do you say, honey?
Oh yeah,
because they've been sitting there at least a year.
More than a year.
Yeah, more than a year, more than likely. And so, and these were for free. So what a blessing that we had these, and now we have a use for them. On that second patch, you can see we got a little bit more on the ground than we did the first time, but you know, it's hard to kind of navigate and get it just right. But basically that looks really good. So the next thing, we're going to top it with compost, and then we'll put potting soil on the top. Okay, so now he's going back to, or he's already gotten a load of compost. Y'all, I was so nervous. Look how close he's getting to my tunnel. I was just like, look, do not put a hole in my tunnel. I was nervous, but he was doing good. I can't thank my husband enough, because I certainly not sure if I would have been able to get on there and do it so so effortlessly. But anyway, he's about to dump the compost. You can see it coming down. On this particular dump, you can see as it's coming down, we don't get as close to the bed as we did on the first one. So we get some that kind of drops on the outside of the bed, but that's okay. We just get a shovel and then we just dump it in. But you can see the compost going in. You can see how dark and rich it is. Like I said, we're missing some of the bed, but that's okay. We come back around and shovel it. I'm sure it's hard to navigate. Hey guys, the bed is pretty much 75–80% full. Look at that. So what you see in the bed is wood chips and compost. We have not put the top layer of potting soil in it yet. We're about to lose daylight. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow, top it, and then plant it. And I'll take you along with me on that piece of the journey. But it'll be one more day, and then we'll be back doing the very last part of it. So I'm really, really pleased and excited because y'all, this doesn't happen all the time. When you buy one of these metal raised beds and you have to fill it, it can be kind of pricey. But the wood chips were completely free. And so we filled it with wood chips, I would say probably 50% of the way. And then we use compost. This compost has been on our property. We bought this compost 2 years ago and we didn't use the rest of it. So it wasn't free, but I haven't bought it in 2 years. And so this is just excess that we had from a big order that we made 2 years ago. So it feels free. And then the potting soil that we're going to top it with, you'll see that in tomorrow's video, or in tomorrow. The potting soil I got was from my local co-op. They had some bags that were damaged, that just had like a hole or something in them. And I got the bags for $5 a piece. Yes. So literally, y'all, we are filling this bed on the less expensive. Let's just say that it's not as expensive. So I would encourage you, when you go buy your metal raised beds, because you need to go buy one, look at the description and you can get a 10% off code if you go to the link in my description to get your very own metal raised bed from Vegega. I promise you, you are going to love it. I'm so excited. Cannot wait. Tomorrow will be planting day and I can't wait to show you what I'm going to be planting. This is going to be a first in terms of planting. Something we're trying out new. So I cannot wait to see you. So I'll see you tomorrow when we come back and be able to plant this bed and water it in. That's another thing. We don't have any drip in this bed set up yet. And so I need a hose pipe. And so I got to buy another hose pipe tomorrow to bring down here so that we can water the stuff in. So I don't want to put my stuff in there without watering. So one more day and we'll be back to finish this up. I'm super excited, but I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Hey guys, okay, we're back. It's the next day. We got the hose pipe. We got it all in here situated. So the next thing we're gonna do now is we're gonna just top it off with potting soil. And then we're gonna be ready to plant. Hey y'all, it is full up to the top. I've already like pre-wetted just a little bit. And now we're getting ready to plant. Okay, so this is the moment we have been waiting for. It's finally getting ready to plant. So what I'm gonna plant in this bed is a first for me at this time of the year. I'm gonna be planting some Yukon Gold potatoes, and I'm experimenting and trying a fall planting of potatoes. So here's my bag here. I bought them from Wood Prairie Family Farm. These are organic, certified seed organic potatoes. So a couple of things that are new. One, this is my first time buying organic seed certified potatoes. Usually I have gotten them from the co-op and didn't think anything about it and wasn't even really thinking or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as I was starting to do research, I realized that buying them and they're not certified seed organic runs the risk of more disease. Now, I never had disease that I know of. I never had an issue that I'm aware of, and I had potatoes. But I thought that I would try this option. Obviously, it is more expensive, but I think anytime that you're buying organic and doing things that way, it is definitely worth it. So, Wood Prairie Family Farm. I've always done my potatoes in the spring. So usually I do my Yukon Golds. I plant them around March, and then I'm usually harvesting like maybe the first part of June. This year, y'all know that I completely just did not have time and did not have a space ready to put the potatoes. Originally, we talked about putting it right here where we had the onions and digging a trench and all that. It just didn't happen. And so I had kind of given up. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have potatoes this year. And then I was reading somewhere where people say you can plant in the fall. I've never done it, so this may not be revolutionary, but for me, I didn't know that you could plant in the fall, and I'm anxious to see if I'll have time to get potatoes before the first frost. Now, I'm about 70 to 75 days away from my estimated first frost. And Yukon Gold potatoes typically take anywhere between 80 to 95 days. So I'm already kind of like 2 weeks over the mark. But again, if they're planted deep enough and mature enough, I'm assuming they can, I'm assuming they can withstand a light frost. And we may not have a frost on October the 19th. If it waits 2 weeks until like November, then I still may be to the good. So I say this is an experiment. I hope that I get potatoes, but if I don't, then I'm perfectly okay, and I will know the next time. And it may not be that I don't get potatoes because you can't plant in the fall. It may just be that I'm a little too late. Because again, I've had these potatoes probably for a couple of weeks. I've had the bed for probably 3 weeks or whatever. And so just getting the bed together with the no tractor, the hose pipe and all that, it took a little bit longer than I anticipated to be able to do this. So had I planted them 2 weeks ago, then that would have given me an additional 2 weeks. But we're gonna get these potatoes in the ground. Let's do it. So if you've never planted potatoes before, basically what they look like, you're looking for this. It should have an eye, and we're gonna plant it with the eye up. These potatoes are relatively small, so I'm not gonna split them in half. When I've gotten them bigger, I've split them in half. Basically, I'm gonna plant these 12 to 14 inches apart, and there usually should be like 3 feet in between the rows. There's only a pound of potatoes in here, so I'm not gonna have enough to even fill up the whole bed to begin with. It'll fill up the whole bed on one side, but if I wanted to do the other side, there would technically only be a little bit less than 2 feet in between them, which I think would still be fine, but ideally it should be 3 feet apart. But we're just gonna dig, and I'm gonna place these probably a good 4 to 6 inches down, and then I'm just gonna cover it. And matter of fact, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and just do me a trench down. That way I can just plop them in here. Okay, y'all, it is done. Yes, we finally have it complete. I'm so excited. I love my new raised bed. I love this night blue color. I love that it's customizable. I love that it is going to be around for the next 20 to 25 years. I love everything about it. I encourage you, if you are contemplating a new raised bed for the next season, whether it's fall or next spring and summer, I highly encourage you, go to the link in my bio. There's a code, you can get 10% off and grab you one of these beds. They have different colors. They're customizable, different sizes. They even have some that are height, I think it's 32 inches tall. Yo, you don't even have to bend at 32 inches tall. You don't even have to bend. And if I could afford it, I would do all the rest of them 32 inches high or whatever. But I'm so pleased, and I'm also so pleased that we got our potatoes. I love trying new things in the garden. I love it, love it, love it. That bag probably cost me 20 bucks, right, for a pound of organic seed potatoes. And so if we get potatoes, that will be a huge win. If we don't get potatoes, it's still okay. I'm not counting on them or whatever, because I wasn't even going to have any potatoes. So I'm glad to try something new in the fall and be able to see if I indeed can grow fall potatoes in Zone 7A. If you've already done it, then let me know. Cheer me on. Let me know that you've already done some potatoes. And if you have a raised bed from Vegega, let me know that as well. I would love to know how you like yours, and let me know what color you're going to go get, okay? Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.